Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. You could basically follow me on any social media platform, or you can go straight to my website at thereligiousshippie.com. So today is a part 2 to the green flags in relationships. I did a part 1 a little bit earlier in the month, or last month, I don't remember, but I said I was going to do a part 2 because I think this is going to be a multiple part series because they're pretty short, pretty straightforward, but I think there are a lot of green flags in relationships that should be looked at or looked for. And even though I'll probably end up doing something about red flags, I do believe that most of the time we should be focusing on the positive things and looking, and trying to see what the good things are that we should be looking for, not just the bad things. And a lot of the bad things like red flags would correlate with the green flags. So I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but anyway, here's part 2. So the first one I have is that you can both be yourselves around each other.
Mabel, do you believe in ghosts?
I believe you're a big dork.
Being able to joke, share your faith, and be yourself is so important in a relationship. That's how you build trust. That's how you learn about each other. And you shouldn't have to hide yourself from your boyfriend or girlfriend. You should also be able to be vulnerable around them and not be afraid of them taking your vulnerability and using it against you someday. I see this happen a lot in arguments and things where somebody opens up something about their past or a struggle that they're struggling with, and then the other person will bring that up in an argument and kind of use it against the person. And when we're in those heated situations, a lot of the times we're not thinking. So it is important to take a break from that. But in those instances, that's not healthy communication. That's not a healthy relationship. So you guys really have to figure that out and realize that this is not the way that couples should be functioning. You should be able to trust each other and have these vulnerable conversations, but you should also be able to goof off together. So if you can laugh with them and be yourself and you don't feel like you have to suppress yourself, that's a pretty big green flag. Number 2, you will feel peace in the relationship. God will not send you a relationship that takes you away from Him. God doesn't want you in a relationship that's causing you pain. And now there are 2 different types of pain. Obviously, there's like growing pain and stress, which every relationship is going to have, and you'll have to figure out how you guys navigate it as a couple, but there shouldn't be any abuse or toxicity in the relationship. Now, if you're uneasy about a relationship you are in or thinking about one you might want to get into, go to adoration and do not ignore that gut feeling. I did that once where I had a gut feeling about a guy and I didn't trust my gut. I was like, oh, well, he seems nice enough and like, I don't know why I'm feeling uneasy about this, so let's just give it a go. And that ended up being one of the most abusive relationships I had ever experienced for 3 months. And I still have the scars on my legs to prove it. And it took me a really long time to move past that and gain my confidence back and to reach a healthy weight again and all of these things. Point is that if I had listened to my gut feeling, I never would have gotten into that relationship. And even though I did grow from that and I hold no resentment towards that person, I feel like it really matured me as a person. And despite the way the maturity happened through abuse, it's not at all ideal or anything, I can take stuff away from that and be like, okay, listen to my gut feeling. And, now I have a confidence that people can't shake. And I think that's really important too. You pray together. Praying together is so important for bonding and sharing your faith. It doesn't even have to be a whole lot of praying together. You guys can do the Divine Mercy Chaplet together, or even just a morning offering together and Our Father at night. I do suggest that couples pray the rosary, but I'm not gonna be like, yeah, you have to do this. I just think it's a really good thing to do. But I think praying together is really important because then you guys are drawing closer to God together. And if God is not at the center of your relationship, it's going to crumble. Relationships need God. A man cannot properly love a woman unless God is at the center of his life, and a woman cannot properly love a man unless God is at the center of her life. So if you guys are continuously chasing God, you will grow together as a couple. Number 4 is that they take care of their appearance.
Pickles has a new girlfriend?
I think we definitely have this epidemic of lazy appearance these days. I mean, you go anywhere and people are in sweatpants and Crocs and sweatshirts. Comfy clothes have kind of become the new fashion statement, the new norm, where it's actually rare and a little uncomfortable to see someone dressed up in a dress or something going out just to run errands. And I think that's really sad. We live in this culture of comfort and laziness, And not to say that those things are specifically bad, because I've definitely worn sweatpants to Walmart if I'm picking something up, or, you know, going out and I just need a quick, you know, something to put on. So we're all guilty of it. And I'm not trying to be hypocritical here and saying like, oh, I'm perfect. I'm not. I do that too. But something that does bug me more is when people go on dates like that. It takes very minimal effort to just put on a little bit of mascara, put on a blouse and some jeans and nice shoes and go on a date. I do suggest that women wear a dress on the date, but I know that a lot of women aren't a huge fan of that, just because I think men really appreciate when women wear dresses because it makes them look more feminine and pretty, and they feel more confident in dresses usually. But you don't need glam makeup. You just need to look presentable. That's all. And for the guys, I mean, I definitely think the guys need to put a lot more effort into their appearance as well, especially the guys who only wear sweatpants, the slip-on slipper things, you guys know what I'm talking about, and like a hoodie. Guys, come on, like, no. The point is, if you're going on a date and you're not putting any effort into your appearance, what is that communicating to the person you're dating? It's communicating to them that, for starters, you don't really care about them all that much. And some people might say, oh, well, some people struggle with their appearance. Well, they probably struggle with their appearance because they don't put much effort into their appearance. But if somebody does not dress up for a date or does not put effort into their appearance, and it doesn't have to be 24/7. I mean, obviously I'm makeupless today, so it's not a huge deal. And there are definitely going to be times where you can bum out and stuff. But when the occasion calls for it, dress up and don't be lazy with your appearance. Also, when somebody takes care of their appearance, they are 1,000 times more attractive. Number 5 is that they're good at communicating. Hey! Communication is the key in relationships. You hear this all the time, and it's 100% true. If you guys can't communicate, it makes everything 10 times harder. So if you're bad at communication, it's really important that you start learning how to become a good communicator. And a lot of the times, communication starts by regulating our own emotions. Communication really starts by figuring out, okay, how am I feeling? Where is this stemming from? And what's the spirit of this? Because if it's a spirit of frustration or anger or something, you don't want to act on that if you're feeling that. And a lot of the times with communication, people need to take breaks before they communicate. And Max and I are kind of like this, where if we have a disagreement or something, what we end up doing is we take a break, we assess like, okay, how am I feeling? Like, what is this? And then we come back together and we're like, okay, well, when you did this, it made me feel like this. And it's so important that we use that type of language, because if we're saying, oh, you always do this or that, it's not true. And a lot of the times it kind of makes other people put their walls up, and it starts this confrontation instead of open communication. And you guys really have to have the open communication where you can express the way that you're feeling and he can express the way that he's feeling without feeling like their emotions or how they're feeling about the situation is a burden to you. I don't really know how to explain that, but you get my point. It's like you guys have to have that two-way communication. And again, it does take two people. You know, if one person's open and the other one's closed off, I think it can be really difficult. But I have also found that if one person is closed off and the other person is good at communication, it kind of becomes easier for the person who doesn't have good communication to let their walls down and open up. But that's not always the case. So I don't know. But a great example of this is when the woman is upset at the man for doing something. This happens all the time. And the man asks, oh, honey, what's wrong? Like, did I do something wrong? And she's like, no, I'm fine. This is so immature. We are not in middle school anymore. Your boyfriend or girlfriend is not responsible for reading your mind because they can't. I always like to put myself in the other person's shoes and be like, okay, how would I feel if somebody said or did this to me? And 99% of the time, none of us want to just be told, oh, I'm fine, when clearly someone's not fine. So learn how to communicate and regulate your emotions. There's plenty of resources out there on YouTube. And if you need therapy, go to therapy. All right, guys, that is it for part 2 of green flags and relationships. I'll probably end up doing a part 3 because there's a few more that I kind of want to go over. But for the sake of this video not being super long, I kind of wanted to go over those 5. So we will do part 3 soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what your green flags are in the comments below. Bye guys! If you guys like this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. If you'd like to see more content from me, you can follow me on Instagram, X, or Facebook at The Religious Hippie, and you can find me on Spotify or wherever else you hear your podcasts at A Catholic's Perspective. Bye guys!